All right. It looks like it's live. Yeah. All right. For all those who are watching this after, hello. I'm just giving it a few minutes. I'm a few minutes early. I'm just going to give this a few minutes to send out my tweets. Let people come in, ask questions if they want. So, let's get started, shall we? All right. So, this project, The Lone Wanderer, has been a series I have been working on since I was 10 years old. That is why the books will be starting at when she's 10 years old. Well, technically, like the first chapter, she's a baby, she's an infant, she'd just been born, along with her twin brother, Nicholas. And, but the real story starts with her perspective, sort of like from her point, not really point of view because it's not narrated on her point of view, but following her completely is at 10 years old, because that's when I started her story. And it goes, I have so many outlines for her entire life, pretty much. So that's why I'm starting to get this story out, is because I've got pretty much all the outlines completed. The only thing that is never set in stone are the endings to these stories, because you know how when you're writing, even though you have an idea of where it's going to go, when you're writing, the story can take you somewhere completely different. The characters in the books have a mind of their own. I just actually tweeted that to somebody just a few minutes ago, because they're writing something and they just mentioned that their story completely went AWOL. It went completely different to where they wanted it. They were thinking it was going to go. And that's just the normal process of story writing, is really the characters write their own story. You don't. You're just the muse. And it's just like, on Twitter and on Tumblr, you have the muse and you have the muns. So technically I'm actually the mun. The characters of the muse. That's the way it is. That's the way it is on role, like, well, what do they call it? Role playing? I don't remember. I attempted to do one with one of my characters on Twitter. He went completely out of control. It's a bad idea. With that character, at least. He still sometimes gets on and is like, no, oh my god, you're going to get me in so much trouble. But yeah, the first book is, she's 10 years old. She's a sage. And instead of the word magic, they don't like, the sage community does not like the word magic. They find it offensive because they find, they call it the crew, spelt CRUX, and it's pretty much like if you were to take your chi, your energy, and project it to what you need to happen. Now, everyone has a specific kind of crew, a specific kind of item that they have to generate these, the crew. When they become of age, that's when it emerges, and they end up going to a school, and it's, now let me get this clear and out of the way. This is nothing to do with the school. This story, a lot of the first book takes place at the school, but it's not about the school. It's about Kiari's story and what she and her friends and her family and everyone else in this community is dealing with. I mean, if you guys have seen the trailer kind of thing that I made for this project, for this Kickstarter project, you'll notice that this definitely takes place in the future. This is year 2210. I had the year has changed so many times because the story says, no, you got it wrong. You got it wrong. At first, it was actually going to take place where Kiari was born in 1985. Same year I was. But the story is like, no. This has nothing to do with you. This has nothing to do with you. This is about Kiari. She was born in 2200. And a lot before that. Yeah, that makes great grammar. Yeah, I'll write her. There was this war. There were a lot of wars, done by the non-sages, what the sages call the others. And they went through so many wars to the point where they've completely destroyed their entire home. Like, all their land is completely destroyed. It's uninhabitable, pretty much. But the sages have survived through this by, for one, keeping their societies secret and out of the way, out of sight, out of mind. And one of the ways they did this was they had these force field like domes, and the sages in charge of that are called the spooks. They're part of they're not the police, but they're above, you could call them police. But there's just more to them than just obeying, making sure people obey the law. They protect the communities. And I'm sorry, I think I've got a cold from everything that I've been going through. So if I'm sounding a little weird, that's why. So these spooks will make sure the domes are in place, that there's enough, crew to keep them up. But they're not but contrary to popular belief between the sages, they're not the ones who actually made them. The ones that made them were, I'm not saying they were aliens, but they're aliens. And but they have an alliance, kind of like a peace treaty with these aliens. And as long as the aliens do not set foot on the Earth, the Sage Authority, which is pretty much the leadership of the government, is what's called the Authority. The Overseer is the one that's over each territory. Like, you have the Eurasia, like Europe and Asia. I think it's just an old term that I'm adopting for this book. But because the sage population is pretty small, so Eurasia is, one territory. Then you have Australian territory. You have the American territory, which includes North and South America. And then you have the African territory. I believe Greenland and Iceland would be one territory as well. Or they would probably mix that in with Europe. And I got to ask my characters about that. That's the one
I'm still, as the story goes on, the whole world is going to, expand. Right now, this only takes place in Eurasia. So right now, that is going to be the focal point for, my God, on my end, the camera is just weird. But back to the aliens. As long as they don't set foot on the Earth, yeah, overseer, yeah. So there's overseers for each territory, and they had this alliance with the aliens, and they're called the Targs. I can't even pronounce it. The Targs. I'm just gonna call them the Targs. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it. If you guys want me to, if anyone comes in and if anyone wants to ask me about it, tweet it to me, or go to my Discord, or go to my Facebook and ask me there. Or I can even type it in here if anyone asks me to do that. But so they've had this alliance for at least 100, 200 years. But it wasn't until like the past 5 years before Kiari was born when Overseer Boswich took over Eurasia territory. And in doing that, he was able to get other people from his clans to take over the other territory. Now he's part of the Darkwing clan, and just because it's a clan doesn't mean they are supposed to be in one spot. No, they can a Darkwing clan or a Lightwing clan or the Phoenix clan. They can be spread around the world. It's not even by bloodline. It's pretty much like a political belief system. And the Darkwing clan used to be like many different clans that were in other types of political belief systems. But Eli Boswich, Eli's his first name, brought a lot of these clans together to build on the Darkwing clan, and then placed like people in different parts of the government in other territories. So now they've risen up, and in doing so, they were able to put the secrecy aside. And because the others were weakened, or are weakened from these wars that they had, and they are defenseless, they decided, hey, we could take them over now. We don't have to be all secret and hide from them and all this. So they did. They took them over. They enslaved them. And that was part of, the video I made. And because that's a really big conflict that Kiari deals with. She doesn't like the whole... she's... Even at, 5, she didn't understand why people had to be treated this way. And growing up, she decides she doesn't want anything to do with this. So she will be getting together with people from other clans, and they'll recruit her to help them overthrow Boswich and his crew. Crew as in CREW. Not crew as in their magic. But but again, they see their magic as like something scientific, because as the years went on, like ever since the Salem witch trials, they've been trying to get along with the others, try and tell them, look, it's not magic, it's not of the devil, and it's all scientific, because the others, they love science. So it started out as a bit of a lie, but it grew to the point where they started to believe it themselves. because they didn't want to think that they were the devil. So they just started to believe it themselves. You lie about something so much, you start to believe it. And that's pretty much after the hundreds and hundreds of years, they started to believe it. So they see the word magic as an offensive term for their abilities. And along with like their items that they use, it's their crew items is CRUX. And the U has like those two dots, and I don't know what they're called. I'm really bad with terms. Really bad with terms. Unless I make them up. And even then, this is why I need an editor. Help me keep things straight. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of where we're going. If anyone has any questions about it, now in a few minutes, like I'm gonna, in a few minutes. I'm sorry, my sinuses are just going haywire at the moment. So this isn't going to be very long, too much longer. So I do have a small chapter that I'm going to read on here. But if anyone has any questions and after the fact and they want to ask, go ahead and feel free to hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, Discord. I'm sure I have my Discord link in here somewhere. If not, I'll go back and I'll add it. But if I forget to do that, it's on my Twitter. If you go to my Twitter account, Marzi Malfoy, it's a pinned tweet. No, it's not even a pinned tweet. I'll add it onto my profile on Kickstarter. I'll do that. But yeah, hit me up anywhere with these questions. Be aware though that there's going to be certain questions I can't answer. Either one, it would really spoil the story for you, and even if you're someone who doesn't care about being spoiled, I care about it, because then I care about you, because it would take away that enjoyment of being able to find out what's what while you're reading. But I mean, but that doesn't mean that everything that you ask me is going to be a spoiler, or a spoiler that wouldn't be too harmful. And another reason why I wouldn't be able to answer your question would be if I don't even know myself. Because, well, pretty much with this book, the first book, I got everything down for that. But like I said before, just because I have the outlines done for all the other books does not mean I know exactly how the story is until I actually write them down. But anyways, this chapter is chapter 8, called The Orange Mist. It's pretty much, the whole chapter is pretty much a dream sequence of Kiari. She has a lot of them. Dreams are very special to someone like her, and they do see dreams as something to be listened to. At least most of them. There are others that are like, no, you're crazy. But yeah, so this is chapter 8, The Orange Mist. Wind whistling, pots and pans clanking, a door slowly creaking open, wails, a worn face of a man clapping next to her. An old woman stirs endlessly in a bowl as fire ignites behind her, unawares. Kiari tries to warn her, but is now writing. No flying into the sky. No. Kiari tries to warn her, but is now riding. No, flying into the sky. Gliding out of the jungle, a lion stands before her, watching. She heard Bane's voice in the distance, but could not hear him. The lion turned slowly toward the direction of the voice. Kiari, it is time. A hand placed on her shoulder. Blue eyes staring from above. Kiari tried to move, but she was tied so tightly. In thick blankets? No, not tied. Swaddled. She was being held like a baby. But this wasn't Mother, she thought. Who is she? Kiari tried to twist free of the restricting blanket, but it was fruitless. It's time to sleep, little one. The voice of the woman above her was sweet and gentle. Let me tell you a story. A fairy tale my mother once told me. I don't want a story. I want to go home. Kiari struggled, but the woman couldn't hear her. There was once a little girl named Lorca. She was quite adventurous and loved to play in the woods despite her father's objections. Beware of those woods, little one, he'd say to her. They are full of an orange mist. Anyone that gets caught in the mist is never seen again. But if they are never seen again, how do we know it exists? Lorca would ask, disbelieving in the stories. Because I said so. But that wasn't enough to dissuade her from exploring the darkened woods. They called to her sweetly in the night, singing lullaby after lullaby as she caressed the smooth bark of the trees. Lorca never saw the orange mist, but she wanted to. She wanted to if it did exist. She was curious to see what all the fuss was about. One night, as she smelled a delicious purple flower, the songs from the night lulled her to sleep. When she awoke, Lorca finally got her wish. Surrounding her was a bright orange glow and the smell of sweets in the air. A beautiful woman shone through the light, beckoning for the little girl to follow. The woman led Lorca to a secluded cabin not too far from where they met. Upon entering the structure, Lorca found the source of the sweets. Towered in glorious piles was a haven for cakes, pastries, and candies. Help yourself, little one. It was all made specially for you, said the woman, handing the little girl a custard pastry. I can have any of it? Lorca took the pastry, amazed that she had been gifted so generously. I hope you'll eat all of it. I worked so hard to make all this for you. So the little girl ate, starting with the pastry she was handed. The crust on the outside flaked and melted in her mouth. The custard on the inside so sweet and creamy. She moved on to the cakes, which came in many different flavors. The chocolate so chocolatey, the vanilla and strawberry so sweet and moist. Then there were different flavors she'd never even heard of before, that she couldn't get enough of, and she never wanted it to stop. Again, Lorca got her wish, because the sweets never did stop. There were many things the little girl didn't notice, but if she had, she would have noticed the passage of time going by, and the fact that no matter how much she ate, she only got skinnier and skinnier and hungrier until she was nothing more than skin and bone. When Lorca died of starvation, the woman's features changed to her natural form, a green-skinned fairy with pointy ears and an ugly nose. She then removed the bones from the dead girl's body, eating the flesh as she went. As she tossed the bones into the furnace, orange smoke emanated from the chimney and floated into the surrounding forest. The fairy went back out to the woods, awaiting a new victim to be drawn in by the hallucinations caused by the orange mist. As the woman holding Chiari tightly finished the story, she took a deep breath and kissed her on the forehead. Chiari was confused, but didn't complain. She had finally calmed down and started to feel sleepy. If something is too good to be true, Lorena, it probably is. That Chiari didn't complain about her name being Lorena when it was really Chiari, but she fell asleep. Now, keep in mind that this is all unedited. But yeah, I did, get influenced by, Hansel and Gretel, the witch. But I don't know, that it does play a big part in not only this book, but in the future, in future books. Like at least five or six books down the line. So pretty much everything that I put in each book, stays with the story of her life throughout all the books. You never know when certain things in book 1 or book 2 is going to turn up in book 11 or book 12 or even the last book. So I don't know. So that's the summary of the project and everything that is going on with the books so far. I want to also thank the 7 backers I got so far. I don't know if they want to stay anonymous or what, so I'm not gonna say their names just yet. But like after if this project becomes successful, I'll ask everyone specifically if they don't mind if I mention them in a video, which I do plan on making a video to thank everybody, and I'll mention names there if they say it's okay to do so. All right. I want to thank everyone who came by and everybody who is watching this after the fact. So I'm going to go lay down. I've not been well for the past couple months. So I get exhausted so easily. So you all have a great day and a great weekend. And I will see you later. Bye.